You know, some people like to post pictures of themselves with corn that's 11, 12, 13, 14 foot tall. I've got annual wildflowers that are that tall. Bees are all over the wing stem, working it hard. It's a good pollen flow. Frostweed is nearly done already. Frostweed and wingstem are closely related. Frostweed is an interesting plant. When we start getting the hard frosts in fall and winter, even if you cut this, this is the plant that you'll see the hoarfrost, H-O-A-R, hoarfrost forming on. Whatever it is, there's something about this, and I've read about it before, but I forgot. But moisture comes up from the roots and collects on the stem, and you get these big ice crystals, big sticks of ice on the stems of these things. Really cool, really neat. It's beautiful in the wintertime. I'm trying to find a small frame of emerging brood to boost this tiny little nuke, see if I can get it saved. And I've got this colony that has been consistently light in weight. I've been feeding pretty heavy. And I decided, well, if they're light in weight, they've probably got brood in here, so I thought they'd be a good donor. I just pulled a frame, and that is a Corey Stevens VSH virgin from this spring in late September. Goodness. She's making winter bees. You can see the uncapping behavior there. She's obviously got the genes. But this stuff is too young. I need something emerging, something chewing out. It's early morning and it's cool, so they're not super happy with me, but I've kept them under control so far. Feeding this little nuke. The lid, they had it propolized down good, and it's cold, so it popped pretty loud when I pulled it open, and I could tell immediately that they were going to be pissy. They don't like the cold. They're normally fine. Boy, they lit me up today. I think I got 5 stings all on my right hand. Just first stings of the day on a good cold morning. Whoo, sends a jolt up your arm. I believe the longer the Swiffers are in the hive, the better they work, especially in these small nukes. It takes a while for them to chew them up and get them soft. In the big hives, they chew them up pretty quick, so I noticed I was catching several beetles last week in the bigger hives I put them in. But in the medium to smaller ones, it took an extra week. Interesting. They're starting to help. That's low cost, low labor, not hard to do. So I got a couple more small nukes moved on top of double screens on bigger colonies. Those colonies are heavy, so I shouldn't have to do anything to them before spring besides oxalic acid. And I wanted to show you this. I pulled a couple of Swiffers out of one of these hives because they looked like they were pretty well used up. I'm pretty happy with that result. Cheap, not too labor intensive. They do make a mess. The bees propolis them, they stick. But that's not bad. That's not bad. They do catch a few bees. I would sure hate to see a queen in there, but I would say I know that has got to happen, but I would say it would be rare to catch a queen in one of those because they're in the upper corners of the hive, and usually the queens aren't up there. So I came into this little yard and I had a chloroplast blocker on the ground on this hive up here. And you can see scratch marks or something's been digging under there, bothering the hive. And then I came to this little nuke down here, and I had this sitting on the bottom board blocking the entrance, reducing it further. And then you look at the landing board, there's all kinds of mud and dirt on there. I believe I've had a skunk bothering this hive. Let's see if we've got any more like that. Yeah, there's another one. Oh, doggone it. I hate catching skunks. I think I'm gonna have to catch a skunk though. Catching skunks is no fun. Yeah, I have to bring a live trap down here. Live trap's better than a foothold. There's some droppings there. It could be a raccoon, I guess. They're bothering. Oh look, they're kicking the drones out. Like, we don't need you anymore. Get out of here. We don't want to feed you. Taunting me. Doing that on my hive stands. There's persimmons in this. That's persimmon seed there. So that's almost certainly a raccoon. Also, raccoons I know love to get up on top of things and poop. So I think I've got a raccoon, which is better than a skunk. Raccoons are better than skunks. So this yard is new this year. I just moved in here, moved a few hives in just to get my presence established and make sure it was gonna, work for the landowner and make sure it was gonna work for me before I put 24 hives in here or 18 or whatever I'll end up with. And it's worked well. I actually met the landowner for the first time yesterday when I dropped off my yearly rent payment. I'm giving a case of each of my bottle sizes. So I bottle a 24 ounce, a 16 ounce, and a 12 ounce. So I'm giving 12 of each of those, and that comes out to like 39 pounds. And I'm thrilled to do that. I don't pay property taxes on this place. I don't have a mortgage payment on it. And it'll definitely pay for itself as a business expense, but it's also like a marketing thing. They have pride in that honey because it comes from their property. So when they give it to their friends and their family, they're going to talk nice about it most likely, and they may give it to people who have never had it before, so they may gain some customers for me. The gentleman that owns this place was very nice, and I told him that these sumacs and some of the junk invasive, non-native invasive species here are shading my hives, and asked if he would mind if I remove some of those and just throw them over the fence there. And he said I can do whatever I want to do in here, clean it up just as much as I want to. So I think I'm going to push out this way, remove that privet, and then clear this fence row out and then push out this way next year too. Just have a line of hives here along this fence row. You can hear the road back here. It's easy to get to, but it's out of sight completely of the road. So I like that. And it gives good mating support for one of my other yards. It's about 1.25 miles away. And there's a huge series of clear cuts all along these ridge tops with a lot of regrowth, probably 5 to 8 year old regrowth in there. So pretty good forage sources in here. I think it'll be a good yard in the long run. It just needs a little work. So this hive here is one of the first ones I started with. They've been going since 2020. That was a swarm that I caught in a swarm trap. And they've always been strong. They've always been kind of feisty. And they've always made a big honey crop. They did that again this year. I opened them up a couple weeks ago and I thought, boy, there's not a lot of bees in there, but they're heavy. So maybe they're just, maybe they're just downsizing for winter. And then I opened them up today. Not a lot of bees in there. There's quite a few hive beetles. So I wonder if they're queenless, and dive down in the second box. Can't find anything going on there. They still got quite a few bees, but they've got a ton of beetles. And I think the beetles are sensing that this colony is in collapse. So what I'm gonna do is put them back together tonight, and I will go and find a nuke that is reasonably strong, and I will cage the queen in the nuke, bring them over here, and combine them. And I will probably put an escape under the top 2 boxes and put them into a double. So the nuke will be in the top, and then these 2 boxes will be over an escape. So that'll allow them to merge over a few days, have plenty of bee coverage for the amount of comb that they've got, and hopefully that will work. I'd hate to lose this hive. Right before winter, I'd really hate to lose them. I think this hive routinely supersedes in late summer, and that's why they've been going for so long. That's why they're always productive. They're low maintenance. They just handle business, and looks like they just failed to requeen this year when they tried to do that. Early morning, I'm back to combine a nuke with this hive up here. I think it's queenless. You can see I finally got some hats made and shirts. We're getting ready for a festival, and we went there last year and had people asking for shirts and stuff. So finally bit the bullet and just had some made. The hats, I'm pretty picky on stuff like that, so researched that a lot, and I picked up a couple of hats from Bob Benny, and I really like them, so I got the same hats, different color, different style, logo and stuff, but they did a really good job with them. I'm happy with those. Probably put them on the website before too long. The bees are gonna be cranky this morning. It's cool. Queenless hive, big queenless hive with a history of being feisty. I may take a sip or two of coffee before I get into them. So I set the nuke there, and I went ahead and caged the queen in there. Just popped the top box off of this hive, and beetles are going everywhere. I was seeing beetles in the comb yesterday, and you can see a defined cluster here, but they've got no brood, no eggs, no assets, no nothing. They're doing nothing but losing weight. So I'm pretty sure that they're queenless. I haven't been through every single frame, but I don't think they're viable, even if they've got some kind of a queen in there. So I'm gonna take this box off, drop that nuke on. Queen is in a candy cage. I'm gonna feed them, and then put these 2 boxes over and a skateboard, and let this colony merge together over the next several days. See the beetles just going everywhere in here. I think the beetles know this colony's in collapse, and they're about to take advantage. That's why I'm going to condense them down to 2 boxes, 2 medium boxes. I think they've got plenty of bees to police that much space. Went ahead and put Swiffers in here. Boy, there's a lot of beetles in that hive. I think they know that it's on its way out. I mean, they're in the comb, not just in the corners and stuff. You pull a frame out and there's beetles in all of the comb. So the bees are just barely hanging on, and it's about to turn into a bad situation. So drop a nuke in, give them some fresh brood and bees and a queen. Protect the queen with a candy cage. Slow release the top down, get all the bees out of there, and then I'll pull that off and probably freeze it. And hopefully this is going to be the last bit of attrition for the summer and into fall. You always get some attrition in late summer and fall, especially after the honey harvest. You'll find hives that tried to supersede their queen and she just didn't come back. And I've had a combination of factors this year that made it worse. For some reason, my supersedure virgins just didn't come back this year. I don't know if it was mating weather or more birds or dragonflies or what, but I had more hives than typical that either swarmed or tried to supersede and just didn't requeen. It's been higher than I've ever seen before. And then I made a bunch of small nukes in June, and they were too weak, and they got overrun by hive beetles, which, everybody says that hive beetles are not a predator. They're a scavenger. They are opportunists. They take advantage of collapsing or weak colonies. Well, there was nothing wrong with those little mating nukes. If it hadn't been for the hive beetles, I think they would have pulled through and made it. I could have boosted them up, but out of that last round of, I think I had 30 return queens, I bet I've only got 12 or 15 left. And, the rest of them just got overwhelmed, slimed out, absconded, all sorts of stuff. So I think my numbers right now are somewhere around 104, 105, something like that. And I need to get up to somewhere around 260 next year, so that I'll then have 200 production colonies plus a nuke battery of about 60 colonies, which is 30% of the production colonies. And that would put me at a pretty sustainable operation. My problem is I'm trying to grow my numbers and I don't have this nuke battery to replace these losses. So, I'm taking a top line loss, not just part of the management decision. Part of the management or strategy to replace 30% every year. So I think I'm definitely gonna bring in some more colonies just to add some girth so that I can make it a little easier to get where I need to be next year. So I came back today to pull these supers off of this hive. Oh, look, there's a European hornet that just caught a something. Cricket or something. At least he didn't get one of my bees. Anyway, I came back to pull these off, and when you've got supers above an escape board, if there is brood or eggs in those supers, the bees won't leave it. And in this bottom box above the escape, I had a cluster of bees here. So I knew there was something going on. I don't know if you can see this, but I've got, this hive had just started to go laying worker. So I've got 4, 5, 6 eggs in some of these cells. I think I caught them just in time. I think they were going to get overrun by hive beetles because they were in collapse, and I think I got them just in time. I'm going to dig down into the bottom and make sure that they haven't started a bunch of queen cells in there. So you can see this queen in this nuke was doing a pretty good job. She just didn't have enough bees to really grow. She's in the cage there. They've got half the candy removed, maybe a little more than half, and they've got an appropriate number of bees for the space that they've got. They can patrol that. I'll feed them up, make sure they're plenty heavy for winter. I think this one's going to be a success. They're all clustered on the brood. They seem happy. They're tending to the queen there. So I think this is going to work out. A little messy in here right now, but you can see I finally got the doors covered. Got to get those cleaned up. I've got a little bit more trim work to do. But this project is coming to a close quickly. I'd like to say thanks to Greg and Janet Miller. I've got a P.O. box. I have to have an address for my website. And I got a P.O. box because of that. And we don't check that P.O. box that often. And my wife just happened to be in town and didn't have a lot to do. So she went and checked the P.O. box, and there was a big box waiting. And in that box was that. Sent by Greg and Janet Miller. Not asked for at all, unexpected, and it's beautiful. He did that with a laser. I guess it's a CNC laser setup. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna find a place here in the honey house to hang that, and I'll probably take it to festivals and stuff as well. Hang it on the register. That's really neat. I love that barnwood look, and yeah, that's really nice. I've been doing a lot of bottling today, and I've got a lot more to do. We got 14 cases of plastic squeeze there, a few cases of 12-ounce glass, a few cases of 24-ounce glass. I need all of those are for a monthly order, so those are going out next Tuesday. And I need this many more of those. I need 14 more cases of those. I need about 14 cases of these, and I need about 16 cases of these in order to go to a festival next weekend. So I've got a lot of bottling to get done in the next week. I've got a lot of other stuff to get done in the next week too. I need to make up some labels to go on my cases of bottles. Just this is sitting in a warehouse, it needs to say that it's honey and what size bottle is in here and how many of them there are. I just haven't done that yet. I don't want to spend a lot of money on that. I want to spend as little money on that as possible. So I think I'll probably try to work up a, I don't know, Avery printed home template or something. I need to find something that will work and be a little more professional than writing on the box with a Sharpie. I'm giving 2 presentations in Orlando at the Florida Beekeepers annual conference. I think that's the 13th and 14th of October. One presentation I'm very comfortable with. It's on honey marketing, small-scale honey marketing. Very comfortable with that one. The other one is a presentation on building a bee business. Sort of a case study on what I'm doing, but I don't want it to just be on what I'm doing. So I think what I'm going to do is talk about where I've been, where I am, and where I think I'm going to go, and then move into some general, I don't even know what to call it, like financial management or ideology, stuff like that. I'm very, very focused on building cash flow. If you're in a business and you know you have acceptable margins, you know you've got decent margins, you know you can make money, especially if you scale. Cash flow is how you do it. Profitability and cash flow are similar, but they're very different. I think about it like profitability is diet and exercise. You know, it makes you healthy, you'll live longer with good diet and exercise. Business lives longer with good profitability. Cash flow is your heartbeat. Without good profitability, you'll die young and you'll be sick and unhealthy. Without a heartbeat, you die right now. So if you can't meet payroll, if you can't buy honey bottles, you can't buy labels, you can't buy gas, your business is dead. Today, not at some point in the future. It's dead today. So I am really focused on trying to build my cash flow and then build my business from my own cash flow to avoid debt. Debt just speeds things up. It's a catalyst. It will speed up your success and it will speed up your failure. So if you've got good margins, decent cash flow, and you stay as much out of debt as you can, say you've got a resilient business on your hands. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out how to put all of these ideas that are jumbled in my brain into a format that makes sense to talk about and flows well. I've got a bunch of slides put together and I've edited and just not happy with it yet. That's in a couple of weeks, and I've got a lot of work to get done in the next couple of weeks. Cutting it close. Just not happy.